You'll unmute yourself to do. I think audio will make it hilarious.
Okay.
Video and audio, please.
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Hi.
That was loud.
Hi. Hi.
Oh. Mommy, I just bit my tongue. I bit my tongue.
Hola. Hola. Hi.
Ah, that was really loud.
Hi. Yes. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Let's see.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, you can bring up a little more. I actually like it full voice. I like it full voice a little. I like it full voice. Okay. Who is it? Charlotte, 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 Charlotte. Popcorn eating contest.
Popcorn eating contest.
Yeah. My head is so itchy. Yeah.
Can you sing Uptown? Can you sing Old Town Road? What about Dance
They said, oh my gosh, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in one. Yet not yet stopped me dead, but I was busting by. Now I beg to see you down just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And I'm I like you, but stop. You make me wanna cry. Now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And oh my, I like a star. You make me wanna cry. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And I'm I like a star. You You make me wanna cry. And I beg to see you dance just one more time. So I said, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So I said, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So I say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh. Beg to see you dance one more time. Every time. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. I say, I like you a star. You make me wanna cry. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Every time. No, I like you a star. You make me wanna cry. And now I beg to see you dance.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I want to just give a big round of applause to our very first 4 performers today, or 3 performers. We have Teo, we have Isabella and Chloe, and we have Odessa. Oh my gosh, what about? And I have this hat like just for you. I didn't even get a chance to use it, but don't we look great? So my name is Melissa. I'm so excited to welcome you here to the inaugural performance of our 2020 Fresh Ink Festival. And this is also our Deep Listening Jam, which for those of us at Fifth House Ensemble is a really special moment. We have been working towards this for over a year with Brian Pirtle and Leela Pirtle, who are our sage guides with the Center for Deep Listening and Lawrence University Conservatory of Music. We have been going through a deep listening certification process, which has been incredible for us. And tonight is kind of a culminating event of that, which we're super excited to share with our entire Fresh Ink family. So tonight we're going to have some existing works, and the first piece that we performed for you is Lamont Young's composition 1960 number 6. And we're next up going to be sharing some existing works and also some works that we have written especially for tonight. So I'd like to go ahead and hand the mic to Sixto, who's going to get us warmed up.
Hello, everyone. Is it loud? Hi. I hope you enjoyed that amazing piece by Lamont. And it was so fun to see all these kiddos. Teo, nice singing. And there was so much fun in there. So I'm going to be in charge of driving a little bit the bus on the movement part. Deep listening involves all the forms of listening that you can imagine. And one of them involves listening to your body as well. So we're going to do this through movement. So we are going to get up and stand up if you will. Let me make an adjustment right here. And I know that it's the end of the day. And at least I know that in Fresh Ink participants, we've been very, very busy. So it's going to be nice to move around a little bit. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I think this is an awesome audience. So, feel a comfortable spot right now, and we are gonna start listening to our body through movement. We're gonna start by realizing what our body does when we breathe. So let's take a couple of breaths, deep breaths, and feel free to actually move your arms with your breaths. and start noticing the differences between breathing in and breathing out, and the intermediate states, full of air. How does it feel? And how does it feel to release? Let's do a couple more times. And listen deep to the entire body. Last time, we're gonna start getting a little grounded, especially thinking about your knees, your legs, and your hip, how all that awesome system relates. Feel free to sink and raise while we do that. And start imagining how your legs are very fluid in this movement of up and down. And I want you guys to take advantage of gravity and drop your limbs or your body in different speeds and different ways. Does your body feel like you want to make waves? Or does your body feel like you want to let go because it's the end of the day and we just want to do drop it on. Couple more. And now I see a lot of you that are kind of bouncing at the end of that breath. And take advantage of this static movement and push it a little further. Listen to. How about that? Good. Awesome. Now listen to your body and let it do what it needs to do. We were bouncing a little bit, and maybe your arms want to go somewhere else, or your torso wants to also detach from the legs. This is called the impulse dance. You follow the impulse that your body's telling you that it wants to do. And I would love for you guys today, again, the end of the day, to go to more of like a blobbing state. All those hours sitting, all those hours looking at the screen, all those hours working, shake them out. Just get rid of them. Awesome. And slowly we are gonna come together, and when you guys are ready, I would love for you guys to find your heart. You can use one hand or both hands. The heart tells us that we indeed are alive and things are moving in our body. It also tells us that we need to pay attention to inside, to think and thank where we are, where we live in, and find your pulse. Right now, that's the beat of your life. Deep listening is also about sharing, like you're gonna see through the entire session today. So while you're listening to your heart, think about a movement that would translate this rhythm, this beating. and have a purpose in it, the purpose of sharing with everyone. It can be with the other hand, or it can be with the body. But I think it would be a good closing for this stretch, to share our hearts with everyone. As we share, if you see somebody doing a movement that you like, you can imitate it. You can bring it to you. And slowly, now that we all have shared our hearts, let's take 10 seconds to reflect and to join this moment, and to thank everyone to share their heartbeat. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sixto. And that is the perfect segue to our next activity. So we're going to do a little piece here called Joints and Juice, and transition into a musical improvisation with Alessandro and one of our Fresh Ink alums, Luke Ellard. If you're out there, Luke, give us a big wave. And Alessandro, do you want to say a few words about this, the piece that you're going to play, or I can just go ahead and lead us in? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I actually came across this piece called Hands by Casey Weiland, because Luke performed that last year. And I remember as I was listening to this piece, I could see shapes of hands moving. And that kind of stayed with me. And then when Brian did Joints and Juice a couple of weeks ago, and had us do some of these motions, this piece came to mind. So I had this idea called Luke about performing this piece. We came up with an arrangement of it for 2 clarinets, basically about the music. You hear 2 clarinets imitating each other first. And then you hear the second section, clarinets passing the melody to each other. And then the third one, we're going to attempt to play together, but then we're going to all take on our different journeys. So Sola, if you don't mind posting in the chat for the participants to use the tiniest movements of your hands. And actually, I'm going to ask Melissa to guide all of us first. So it's going to be a piece in 2 movements. The first movement, Melissa's going to guide us through the motions of the hands, joints and juice. And also, we're going to implement another one of Eloise Goals, who was one of the founders of the deep listening practice, which is echoing. So I want you to think about this, and hopefully we can add this to the chat. Am I doing my own movement? Am I echoing somebody else's movement? Or am I getting inspiration from somebody else's movement and creating my own? So have clarity about which one you're doing on all these three. So I'll pass it to Melissa for our first movement.
Hooray. And this is a great moment if you have not yet turned your video on to be bold, be brave, and share with us your space. So what I'd like everyone to do is just bring your hands in front of you and just bring your attention to your joints. See if you can make tiny little movements that originate just from the joints of your hands. They can be any speed. And for the moment, just look at your hands as they are in the real world, not the digital world. It's always kind of a trip for me these days. And also think about the fact that you have a lot of water, a lot of liquid flowing through your body at all times. So consider your movements relative and related to that liquid, the juice that's flowing between your joints, under your skin, in your muscles. See how that changes your movement. And you might try like bringing your awareness to your screen now to share that with us. So kind of use this little square you have as your stage. And just for fun, just initiate any movement of your own. And now try actually imitating the movement of someone else. And then last thing, see if you can pick someone else and take inspiration from their movement, but then make it your own. So as we go through this piece, I'm going to ask you to think about all three ways of being: initiating a new movement, imitating a movement, or iterating a movement. And for those of you who are on Zoom with us, I think Eric is going to drop into the chat a link that we can use to actually hear Alessandra and Luke. And those of you who are listening to us on YouTube land, on our website, we're grateful to you for being there. Oh, we're actually going to go straight through Zoom for sound for all. So we should be able to hear ourselves all here. All right, very good. So let's go ahead and get started and let the piece be our inspiration for our movements.
Take it away, Luke. Thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Luke, for joining us. Yeah, Luke.
Yay. Any reflections, any thoughts from anyone in participating in that activity? How did that feel? Feel free to just jump on in.
I noticed that many people were very serious and collective, but it was very difficult for me to restrain on my face as part of the performance just how much I loved doing that and loved being part of that.
And that there begs the question, why would one restrain one's joy? I love that as a thought. Yeah, great. Other reflections?
I completely agree. I was kind of serious, but I was so joyful the entire time. There's this freeing nature of just being like, you know what? I'm going to forget social cues for this brief moment because everybody's doing it. So, but there's something collective about this when everybody is doing what would be maybe a little ridiculous outside of the setting. And then you realize, why is that ridiculous? Why is being joyful? Why is being happy? Why is movement ridiculous? Because it's not.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I think that's exactly right. And what we always hope to do is to free that up in ourselves as performers, as artists, and then also as people, as human beings. We all have the right to be joyful in our creativity and to remember our creativity. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right. So I want to hand now off to Sixto and Parker for our next score, which is an original.
Yeah, thank you. So for this, we were tasked, Fifth House was tasked with writing some original text scores in pairs as part of this deep listening jam. It was probably one of the first assignments that I've had in a while from Brian and Leela, which was really exciting. So Sixto and I were talking a lot about, we wanted to write a score that had a lot of elements of fun, and we also wanted to have people interacting with one another and just kind of like being able to be fun and interact with one another in a safe and brave space. So I was thinking a lot about the board game Cootie when I wrote this, if anyone has ever played that. So we wrote a score called Along Came a Monster. And I'm going to just set the mood with my lighting here. 1 second. Oh yeah, that's good. So the disclaimer here is just like all deep listening activities, it's intended as a lighthearted exercise of creativity, imagination, and interaction. If you find that at any point you don't want to participate, you certainly don't have to. Observation is definitely enough when it comes to participating in this score. So in part or in full, you can feel free to sit out, but of course we'd love to have as many people as possible. All right, so this is Along Came a Monster, and Sixto and I are going to be trading off on some directions. So you can feel free to participate with the directions as you hear them, rather than us saying the entire thing and then going forward.
And also feel free to sound as well, and if you feel comfortable, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, please do. And Sixto, if you can bring your volume up again, that would be awesome. And while he's doing that, I will start. Since the beginning of time, children from all across the world have dreamt of monsters. Some monsters are big, some are small. Some are spotted, some are striped. Some are creepy and move only at night. Some are silly and make us laugh. The one thing they have in common is that they are merely figments of our imaginations. But tonight, in the glow of your computer screen, your eyes become heavy, and your childhood monster moves through the shadows of your dreams and into this very room.
Stand to greet your monster. And observe it carefully as you begin to picture its movements. Your monster's left arm comes first. Take the left arm and show us how it moves. Next, your monster's right arm. Take the right arm and show us how it moves. The left leg of your monster is also moving. Take the left leg and show us how it moves. Then your monster's right leg as well. Take the right leg and please show us how it moves. Lastly, your monster surely has a unique head and a face. Take the monster's head and show us what it looks like and how it moves. As you dance with your monster's dance, take a look around the room and eventually find another monster that catches your eye. Steal and replace a limb from that monster and make it your own. Find another monster that intrigues you. Steal and replace an additional limb and make it your own.
As your dance continues, imagine your monster's sound. It is special, unique, intrinsic to your dance. Start sounding your movements. Now I want you to find a different monster sound that intrigues you. And steal that sound and make it your own. Sound world take over more and more.
Your monster is sounding and dancing so fiercely that it begins to fall apart, limb by limb. Until eventually it loses its head. I won't be able to speak or make a sound. Close your eyes and take a moment to watch your monster sink back into the shadows of your dream. somehow different than when it arrived. Let it drift into memory until the next night that you can call upon it to dance again.
You all are rock stars. Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
That was awesome, guys. That was so awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah, whoever was screaming, that's gonna give me real nightmares.
Yeah, no.
All right.
I also gotta give Spencer props for his mouth. That was unbelievable.
I'm seeing some things come through the chat, but I'm curious if anyone would be willing to share what that experience was like for them with your voice.
Oh my gosh. I could not stop laughing. I was just like cracking up the entire time, so I didn't turn on my sound, but everyone's sound was beautiful.
Agreed. Definitely. I could listen to that for quite a long time.
I also was laughing because, well, Fifth House knows, but I can often never be serious. And my monster was like, "Hi, I'm your ex-boyfriend." So it was like, I'm going to... Never mind, I'm going to do it. You know.
Thanks for sharing, Luke. Love it.
Monster had legs for days, so, you know.
I was trying to make sure that my monster only scared me and not my wife, mother-in-law, and anybody in the neighborhood. So
I was really excited about all the things my body could do, and through the lens of my monster.
Yeah, and thanks Sixto for warming us up, because I'm sure I would have pulled something if I hadn't.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I loved everyone using their space too. That was rad.
Yeah, eyes in the corners of the Zoom boxes. Wonderful. All right, so I think now we are just about primed for a break. So we have a 5-minute break in our schedule. Feel free to turn off your cameras and take some time for yourself, and we'll be back in just a bit with some more exercises and activities.
Drink some water.
I want to hear what Wyatt's doing.
I'm always jealous of everyone who can sit in the same spot at their computers and play without destroying the computer. Just there goes the webcam.
Love it. So we're all coming back. Greetings, everyone. Hope you all had a good break, had some good hydration, you know, all that fabulous stuff. So we're about to head off to another score. I'm just like waiting for Hareen and Alex to pop back on. I see Hareen and Alex. Hooray. I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to you.
Thank you. So Alex and I did a score that also has some dream basis, and we, without further ado, are going to embark with you all on the Sonic Tour Bus. Go ahead and get yourself comfortable. You don't have to sit. If you'd like to lie down, you can. However you feel comfortable right now. At some point in the future, there will be a first day of something that you're looking forward to. This first day is so exciting that it makes you want to share it with everyone. Immerse yourself in that day. What is happening? Why is this a good day? What is new or different? Do you do ordinary things differently? Because this is the day.
Sink into the physical space, sounds, and emotions of the day. When you're ready, externalize the sounds that you hear to take us on a sonic tour of your day. Take turns being the tour guide and the tourist, and allow your sounds to mingle and morph with those around you. When the tour is complete, return home and allow yourself to drift off into a peaceful silence.
Do you want fried eggs or do you want scrambled eggs?
Eat breakfast.
All right, guys.
Don't
What are we starting with?
Christmas. It's Christmas.
Thank you.
Did some of the style first, or what are we?
No, there are no blueberries in these pancakes. They're just regular ones.
Bring the towels.
Do you have sunscreen?
Can't
It's
wait
Zia's
for this.
turn.
Sandwiches too.
I still get excited by first days of school.
Felicidades. Felicidades. ¿Qué pasó,
Zia, such a big girl hugging your brother like that.
Come here, Barker. Come here. No,
Get
get
your nose.
over here. What are you doing? Get out of the trash.
Okay.
It's okay, Barker. I love you anyway.
Do we have everything that we need?
I got fast passes so we wouldn't have to wait too long. We can skip most of the lines.
One's up, two's up, three's up. Yes, shoes.
Don't go too deep.
Yeah, this one looks a little scary, but let's... If you want to try it, we can. We can stand in line or we can wait.
Colorful towel.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna climb all the way to the top.
Eine kleine Geige, die haben wir nicht
Hold your nose.
That was so awesome.
I love the way you articulated there. I think I'll match you on this.
Mama,
I'm so excited.
I don't believe it.
Let's do it again.
Let's go and walk around the neighborhood.
Can't wait for next year.
Let's do this again.
I'm sick of summer.
Thank you all so much. I loved hearing all of those sounds and the way they influenced me. Does anyone have some thoughts about this one?
I was really transported on that score.
Thank you, Rick. Where did you go?
I went to the beach with my family.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I heard grab your towels. And I think that was you.
Corrine, did you go to Six Flags?
Oh, how did you know?
You and I have stood on that platform before.
Oh, yes, we have. Yes, Melissa and I, every few years, it occurs to us to take a day off and go to Six Flags. Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking it would be cool to take Teo because he's never been tall enough to meet the height requirements for most of the rides to make it fun. And this year he's tall enough and he knows that Six Flags isn't open yet and he's very disappointed about it. So there will be a first day. And Teo may bomb Melissa and my Six Flags date and come along.
Such an honor to be given the chance to experience these sounds and these places again. I was in our bathroom with all three of my children, and they were putting their clothes on and telling me about their day. They're all grown now, of course, but it's nice to be able to be there with them and hear them again as small children.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
And we've got some folks in the chat too. Senia said,
yes, look at this.
Thinking about, yeah, if you want to take them, Hareen, if you see.
Oh, sure. The first day of hugging my friends again and cries. You know, we had a beautiful score. Grace had us talk a couple weeks ago about the first time we hugged again. And I bawled, and it was completely out of left field. I wasn't prepared for it at all. I actually had to turn my camera off for most of that particular session because it completely broadsided and overwhelmed me. And I don't usually mind crying in public, but I was just so caught off guard by it. But it was beautiful and necessary, and I'm so grateful to Grace for giving us a moment to think about that. And it actually made me really think about, like, really prioritize things. We've been stuck in this, like, particular holding pattern for so long that it actually gave me this particular prompt to really think about my life and think about things that I need to be doing. So thank you, Grace, who's right next to me right now. It was very, very deep and meaningful. The beach, I got the beach and backyard beach from Adrian Wong. Ellen said I went to the mountains and which mountains kept changing. Yeah, isn't that so interesting? The various landscapes that there are in this world and even in this country. Sixto, you're coming with us to Six Flags and Parker too. So by the way, if you were to come to Fresh Ink in Kenosha, you would have passed Six Flags on your way up there and been like, whoa, that's like the last thing you see before you cross the border from Illinois into Wisconsin. It's a huge landmark. I went to the first day back at school when quarantine ends. Yes, you know, initially when I thought about this score, I actually wanted it to be the first day of school. That's what I had in mind. And then the more I thought about the first day of school, I thought that for some people that's traumatic. And I wanted this to be a lighter-hearted score. And Alex and I talked about it a lot, actually. And I don't know, I didn't want it to trigger particular anxieties because I think we're in this moment right now where everything we do is new, and to have to consider, even if you're excited for the first day of school, constant, like new and exhilarating, but total fear of the unknown mixed into that could be very difficult for some people. So yes, but I would be a person who would also be excited about the first day of school. I depicted when Noah and I would be getting off the plane for non-virtual Fresh Ink. Oh, you know, and that was another thing we even talked about was like, what if we just put them in the place where we would have had Fresh Ink? And again, like, I don't know, that might make people sad in a particular way as well. But, so we made it a little bit broader. Oh my gosh. My goodness, I love Great America so much. Fresh Ink reunion at Six Flags. Yes. I went back to visit my host mom from Vienna. Oh, I love that. Alexa, could you tell us what kinds of sounds were involved in that? Because I wouldn't have been able to filter those in a particular way.
So there was a lot of riding on the U-Bahn from the airport to her house.
Oh, yeah.
all of the different stops on my way there, because I did that trip so many times. So like knowing which way the exits are was a big part of that. And then I got there, and then there were the birds chirping in her garden, and it was just like being home, away from home again.
Wonderful. Thank you. I went to my first in-person date post-quarantine. Excellent. I also went to the first day of school and seeing all my college friends in person again. Good. Really cool how everyone else's day became part of my day too. Thank you so much, Remy, for saying this, because yeah, that definitely happened to me too. It's so cool to hear all of those different sounds. I heard breakfast sounds. I was cooking breakfast for my kid, who's like every day his choice of eggs is completely different. Like there's no rhyme or reason to which ones he loves and which ones he hates. So on a good day, I wasn't going to make him eat the ones I was making. I was going to ask him which ones he wanted and then maybe do a little custom order. And I heard somebody else sizzling eggs and bacon as well. That was very awesome. Did anyone else hear intersections of sound in their landscapes that affected how they made their score? Cool. Yeah. And it's about the people. Spencer says, thank you. Yes. Yep. It's so true. Fragments of the conversation folded on top of each other. Chaos, but joyful. Yeah. And I think the coolest thing is that somehow I don't even know how many people are on here right now. But intuitively, we as a group know when the score is over. And I always find that just so magical about the deep listening work that we do, is that the group somehow comes to a consensus that, 51 people. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rick. That's one of the most amazing parts of this, is just that we come to this collective place where like, okay, this is the day. And there we are. Alex, would you like to add anything?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about the dreaming space in deep listening and the imagination space is that it gives us time to kind of drop some of the more rational or fear-based or why not kind of thinking and just live in hope for a while. And I think at any time being able to live in hope is just an important thing to be able to do. And then also, I found that, so this is the first time that Hareen and I have performed the score with other people. We tried it out on our families a little bit, but so you never quite know what to expect. And my main takeaway was that I just wanted to go where Hareen was going. It sounded very fun to be at Six Flags. So I think if we do this again, draft 2 might include joining other people's days, if that's where you're called.
I have two things. First is, Alex, what was your first day?
So actually, I'm getting married this summer, and my first day was the first day that Danielle and I have an apartment together. We are we're together in the same place now, but for about a year and a half, we've been long distance. So that's going to be a good day.
That's amazing. And then my follow-up was, what was it? Oh dear. Well, these are all beautiful thoughts, and I'm just so excited that you all joined us on this. Thank you.
All right, so we've got another score, and huge fresh ink virtual applause to Alex and Hareen. Our next up is going to be Elizandro and Eric, who are joining us with another score of musical tone layers.
Yes. And this one is an original score, and this is the first time that we're going to try this score. So, layering sounds, voices. First, dudes, could you post a prompt on there? We want, and I'm riffing off on an activity that Ellen did maybe last week, when she's a voice teacher and she had some of her friends just playing long tones and just gravitating towards different long tones and like that. And the other one was one activity that Lila did couple of weeks ago too with 3-tone improvisation. So we're gonna layer these ideas first. We're gonna vocalize, or the people that choose to be in the bottom voice, you're gonna be the ones that are gonna sound the most. You're gonna be at forte. Or let's call it, since we're on headphones and it's weird in Zoom, we're gonna call it mezzo forte. Just your normal dynamic, right? But you're gonna sing only long tones, sustained drones. Now, when you're doing this, you can sustain your own note or gravitate towards other notes. It could be consonant, dissonance, doesn't matter. So we're gonna create that layer at a very normal dynamic. Now, the middle voice are the ones that are gonna be improvising 3 notes in any order, pitch, or rhythm. And also, you're gonna use your hands to reflect the energy and shape of your 3 notes. That's for the middle voice. And do this in a medium soft voice. And the top layer is actually your musical imagination. And you're gonna be the ones that are gonna think about a melody or a melodic pattern. And if you feel comfortable, bring the melody to your vocal cords and make a humming sound. So that's gonna be the softest layer. So is that clear for everybody? Drones, the middle voice are doing a 3-note improvisation, any pitch, rhythm. And the top voice is gonna live in your mind. It's gonna come through your vocal cords as a hum or a very soft melody. Okay, I'm gonna have Mr. Bass Clarinet assist us on the drone part. And you can change from the different, if you wanna be first voice, do it for a while. And also one thing that I have learned over doing activities, allow time for silence. So once you make a sound, also allow some silence so that you can hear the other folks. Pop, pop, pop. Great. Thank you for trying out this. Thank you. That was fun. Thank you, dudes, for bassooning on that one.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, any feedback or what was your feelings about this improvisation? Bassooning. Feel sometimes when you get into, I found from our experiences with it, we kind of sink into doing the same things. Sometimes it's hard to step away from that and do something completely different. And so that's important as creative artists. We should always allow that to be kind of a driving mentality in the creativity aspect. But I could hear some really nice melodic. I think the purpose of this, the very soft top, is to kind of force people who are making sound to actually listen, to see they could really spot those melodic fragments. But then somehow when in the low voices, I didn't find too many gravitational pulls for some reason. But I don't know, it might be a different experience for other people. I'm just curious what people think about this.
Lots of love for Brian and holding down the low end.
Actually, I was starting to try to think of other things to do, but just early on in that, I thought it was really interesting to hear how that pitch I was singing just kind of interacted with everything else that everybody else was doing. So I just wanted to ride that and see what happened.
Yeah, one of the elements of deep listening is the community aspect and really recognizing another person's voice and actually kind of being influenced by that, and how your place can also be very important in the whole process.
I tried to find the essence of the bass clarinet and the lowest portion of that, and tried to stick on that as a drone for as long as I could.
I was reluctant to pull out the bass clarinet because most of you, or a lot of you, are composers, and you just love the bass clarinet, don't you? So, but actually, I didn't used to play too much bass clarinet, but now I'm playing it a lot more. It's a lot of fun, just because of what you're saying, Spencer. Yeah, those low tones are very earthy. Yeah, a deep voice for sure. Deuce, you wanna add?
The hardest thing for me is I can't hear anybody while I'm playing bassoon.
And also your microphone is very low. It's very soft.
Sorry, I adjusted it for bassoon level. Yeah, hardest thing for me is being able to hear people while I'm playing bassoon. Sorry, this thing's broken. I'm gonna mute myself.
I knew that. Just kidding.
All right. Well, we're just getting Deuce figuring himself out there. That was wonderful. Thank you all so much for your music making. And we're going to transition now to something a little bit different. So the next score is me and Grace. And we had an amazing experience this last week getting to meet Ione, who does he's the dream keeper for Deep Listening. And it was a really special moment to be able to hear somebody so beautifully validate that space in our lives that we spend about a third of our lives in and yet don't pay much attention to at all. So we wrote this little score, and what we'd like you to do to just get yourself ready for this is one where you can actually turn your microphone and your screen, your camera off. And we're going to ask you to find a comfortable position, and you'll hear both me and Grace in your ear for this score.
Let your eyes relax and close. Take a few breaths. Check in with your body. Adjust your position if you need to relieve any pressure. Can you sense the inside of your right pinky? What does it feel like? Can you sense the inside of your right hand? How does it feel? Allow yourself to sense the inside of whole right arm. When you're ready, sense the inside your left arm as well. Maintain the awareness and add your toes. See if you can sense the inside of your feet, your calves, your legs. Now sense the inside of your whole body. Let the edges of your body, as you know them to be, begin to melt away. Sense beyond the edges. Question whether they are there. Look without opening your eyes. What can you see? How far can you see? Listen, not only with your ears. What can you hear? How far can you hear? Consider the space you will have arrived when you can feel the flow. Sense, look, and listen.
In this new space, ask yourself, do you feel resistance? Do you feel judgment? Do you feel doubt about this new space where you've landed? The pull back to the familiar is so strong. Have the courage to explore. Does this space feel like a dream? Which reality is the big dream? This space or the familiar one? What if there is no boundary between you and the space around you? What if there is no distance between you and others around you? What if it were all the same? Not just similar or with things in common, but parts of the same. What if we just need to see them as different parts to understand what they are? What if we could go back to the past experiences that have shaped us in this life? Remember yourself, see yourself as an adult, as a teenager, as a child. Can you remember your earliest memory. That first moment you recognized yourself as a being. What were you like before that moment? Before life began to shape you? Your body, your eyes, your ears, yourself as you know it to be. What if we could untangle the threads of our life experience? What if this is who you really are? Can you remember what it feels like to be you? Why is it that we avoid being with our true selves? Is it easier to be part of the familiar, the reality we choose, than to be simply you? To remember, to be vulnerable, to be open, to be one, whole again. Open yourself to the possibility. Sense, look, and listen. Let go. Release yourself to the flow. In this new space, what messages or questions come to you? Sense, look, and listen. Now take a few moments to connect these worlds. Share words you receive, sounds that resonate, or movements that come to you. We can't see you. We can't hear you. These are just for you, for now. When you're ready, start to come back to your body. Let your eyelids slowly open, a little at a time. But don't forget this space. You can return there anytime. It is always there. Thanks, everyone. So we thought this might be a good introduction to the score that Parker is going to do. And so, Parker, when you're ready, if you want to share that with us.
Yeah, sure. So actually, feel free to come back close to your mic, but you don't actually need to turn your videos back on because this is a score that I wrote kind of towards the beginning of doing our online deep listening sessions every weekday morning at 10 a.m. And I was getting overwhelmed with the fact that we were sitting in front of computer screens all the time, and it's been kind of hard to keep your attention focused forward. And so I wrote this score called Zoom Fatigue, which I'm sure that all of us are living in some capacity right now. And I'm just going to read it. It's really simple. So I'm just going to ask that everyone turn their microphone on. You can keep your cameras off. So Zoom Fatigue goes like this. Create the sound you want to make. Move your body. We'll read it one more time because I'm seeing some people can't hear me. Okay, can you hear me now? I just want to make sure that that's working. Great. Okay, good. So the score, I don't know exactly what I missed, but I'll just introduce it as this. So we've all been sitting in front of cameras for a very long time, and it can be very exhausting to have eyes on you all the time, and be speaking into a little camera rather than seeing someone in person. And so I wrote this score called Zoom Fatigue that is all about you and doing what works best for you in this moment. So this is how this goes. I'll read it twice. Create the sound you want to make. Move your body in the way you want. You are not on camera. Be yourself. And once more, just to be sure. Create the sound you want to make. Move your body in the way you want. You are not on camera. Be yourself.
Oh no.
Hee hee hee. Zoom go brr.
Zoom go boom boom.
Why do they call it oven when you oven the cold food of out hot eat? Why do they call it oven when you oven the cold food of out hot eat the food? Why do they call it oven when you oven the food of out hot eat the food? They call it oven when you oven the cold food of hot eat the food.
I can hear you.
Ah. Before the lemon and a pickle came knocking at my door, I went down to let them in. Not snibbling on a prune. I did the
My cat's Star Destroyer.
What day is it?
Oh. There. Who is here?
I'll have a hot dog.
Ice cream?
Not dinner yet.
I'll have a s'more.
Is this Pizza Hut?
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Snickers.
Oh.
Four.
Ice cream.
Five.
It's a lot of damage.
No idea.
Meow 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 meow
It seems familiar.
Few moments later.
Oh my God.
Get it, come and get it.
One eternity later.
Yeah.
You got a big storm coming.
Where are you?
I'll have the pizza from yesterday.
Where are you?
On the
I'm
table.
over here. I'm over here. I'm over here.
But was there chicken
just
on
on
it?
your left there.
Don't
Full
eat
of
that
chicken?
pizza.
Chicken?
Pineapple.
Parker.
I don't care. I'll still eat it.
Oh, Teresa.
Take your time.
All these people come from.
No way, I'm not done yet.
Time. Who has time for that?
Really not done yet.
I guess it's just cheese.
Really?
We're done yet.
Cheese.
Where's Leela?
Yeah, I find this.
Webcam off.
Look. So cheesy.
Okay, Google.
Big
This guy.
star.
Take your
Favorite
time.
Star Destroyer.
I wonder how many people are
Star.
actually wearing
Where's the
pants.
potato?
Potato.
See the potato.
The potato.
See the potato?
Not wearing pants.
Ari thinks.
The
Are you
potato.
wearing
You
pants?
say potato, I say potato.
Show us potato. Potato.
Potato?
Potato.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Move to boycott North Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay, but really, who calls them Ersters?
Pretty excited.
Thirsters.
I love full porter.
I wonder what Hannah thinks.
Where are we? I wonder what Nick thinks. Me too.
I like it here.
I wonder what Parker thinks.
Nick wonders what Nick thinks.
I wonder what I think.
I can see what Parker thinks.
I think a lot.
What Parker thinks to be done.
Who is this Parker fellow?
Parker?
Brian,
Do we
that's
know
like-
her?
it's like
Parker.
right in my ear.
Parker, I hardly know her.
Sparkles.
Parker has a nice smile.
I like to eat it.
Hello, my name is Parker.
You're throwing goldfish at me.
What is Wyatt doing?
What is Wyatt saying?
Something about a Star Destroyer.
About the Star Destroyer.
Pew pew lasers.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Beat me down, Scotty.
In the neutral zone.
The neutral zone is getting ready to attack.
That's a lot of damage.
You with airplane food.
Red alert! Red alert!
Favorite color.
So it's trying
No,
to eat
no, no, no.
No,
Viola.
this is going to happen.
Can a swallow carry a coconut?
Come on here. Come here, kitty. Come here.
Star Wars didn't start.
I'm taking a bite out of the future.
Brian's like, that's my wife.
I have no idea who that is.
How about that airplane food?
Thank you so much, everybody.
We are not done.
Parker.
Everyone meet your MC for tomorrow night.
Thanks, Sixto. So, in lieu of talking out all of the things that happened, which all of you contributed so beautifully, thank you. We've done this with smaller groups, but having a room full of wonderful Fresh Ink folks has turned this into quite a different exercise, which is the entire point. So, we wanted to take a minute and Melissa or Leela or Brian, if you have any other directions that you'd like to give, feel free to jump in. But I'd like everyone to just grab a pencil, a piece of paper, or open a notes app. And you can just write about your experience. It can be about the score that you just participated in. It can be about the night so far as a whole. we just want to take a couple of minutes just to have some written reflection time. So again, if you feel free, or if you feel like you want some privacy while you do that, feel free to turn your camera and sound off. We're going to be back at 8:50-ish to do one final activity for this evening. So take some time, reflect, and we'll see you in a few minutes. And Leela asked, do take note of how you feel now as opposed to how you felt at 7 o'clock when we started. Great. Thank you, Leela.
Okay, so I think we are back. And our last activity, I want to pass to Leela. This is one that we did with her for the first time to just close off and connect us back to each other. And we are excited to share it here. So for Leela, this is Tree in the Wind. If she is back.
I am.
Here you are. You're on my second screen.
Oh my goodness. Thanks everybody for your openness. What an honor to be asked to do this. It's been an incredible journey with Fifth House, and these original scores they wrote are incredible and will be added to the deep listening repertoire. So I just would love to unmute and just give them a hand. That's what I want to. Okay, so Tree in the Wind. Tree in the Wind is one of the text scores in the DL canon, and so normally, this is done in a circle with people live in a room. Do you all remember that? What that was like? And we would be holding hands and breathing together, and then listening with our whole bodies for the first impulse to move together. And so the person on my right would maybe move their tree limb, and the person on their left might be doing something else. And so finally, the whole circle of individuals is now one gorgeous body moving together. And finally, you actually don't even know whose impulse you're following. Maybe it's the person on the other side of the circle. But it's a piece to connect a body of people. We're going to try this on Zoom. We did it last week with Fifth House, and had surprising results. So I'd like you to take a place standing. And we have sort of a dreaming element, engaging our imaginations in this one as well. Remembering how powerful those imaginations can be in creating, and find a natural stance. And just breathe. Allow yourself to breathe the way your body wants to breathe. And before we go into Tree in the Wind, I'd like us all just to take all this incredible energy that Fifth House has created, that you have created, this collaboratively playful, joyful environment. And I'd like you to breathe in that joyfulness and breathe out a sense of peace or anything you'd like to send out to the world. So you're taking that energy that we've created together and have a sense of expanding that now out into your communities. And now out into the world. And now out beyond the world. Feel free to shake anything out that you feel is a little stiff. take lessons from our animal friends that way. And we're going to find your natural stance, just a balancing, standing position of this body, this very, very sacred vessel that we're in. And find some grounding, roll your feet around safely on the floor, find where your toes and the balls of your feet and the heels are making contact with that floor, and that floor is not a stopping point, but it's a vibrating source of energy that goes right down into the earth core. Have a sense of that for just a second. And we're going to bring awareness into our ankles and love. My goodness, they do so much for us. Now up through your shins. And wiggle your knees around a little bit. Up into your thighs, such powerful parts of our body. And allow your pelvis to sit where it needs to sit. Feel free to wiggle and shake it around. Let your breath also carry your awareness up into the core of your body. And let the next breath take that awareness all the way up into your throat and mouth. And now up into your forehead, this third eye area, and all the way to the top of your head. Have a sense that you have, again, like I said this afternoon, this energy connecting you somewhere out there into this loving bubble that we've created and we've sent out way beyond the globe. And maybe we're not even in an inward mood right now. Maybe we're in a very outward, loving, connecting to things beyond our bodies. And maybe we are in an inward mood where we're noticing how much space we actually have in our bodies. And that as we breathe in, this space now connects us and expands our bodies beyond this porous skin layer. And that our limbs, our tree limbs, have moving, spacious joints. And that our joints can move within this space and create. And now let's take our eyes softly and look at our screens and rub our hands together. And let's make contact with the people on our right and our left on our screen. And we're going to touch hands. And you may have to adjust yourself. Touch hands with the person on your right and your left. And listen for that first impulse to move. And sometimes you're going to be the leader, and sometimes you're going to be the follower of your hands and your limbs moving. And follow the person on your right and your left at the same time. And this will take a little adjustment, but just trust yourself. Let your breath untangle some of our perceptions of what sight is. If your arms get tired, feel free to lead down and rest them and bring them back up. And our dance is already in progress. Feel Feel free to allow your trunk to move as well. Allow your breath to untangle what you're seeing and just trust yourself. Be bold in your movement. You'll be followed. And on your next breath, find someone else in the room to follow. Feel free to rest your arms. And then as you bring them back up, now the dance becomes following someone else's two arms. And the dance becomes a tree dance, your own tree, but perhaps you are following someone else and you're creating together. You might not even know it. Feel free to find another friend. And feel free to find another friend. And find one more and really look into their eyes. They might not know, but they'll feel. Somehow they'll feel it. Now we're going to relax our tree limbs. And with the next breath, bring them up again and connect to the people on your right and left. And let your eyes dart around your screen. And let yourself be amazed by the souls that are in front of you and the beautiful energy that each one of you brings. And now we're going to turn our palms upward and we're going to take a big gulp of air. Let your knees soften and go grab this big gulp of air and this big gulp of energy from the universe, and we're just going to bring it all the way down the front of our bodies this way. Nice and slowly, feeling that energy as it passes your forehead, your mouth, your throat, your heart, your core, your pelvis, and relax all the way down to your side. Whew. What a mighty tree we have. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you so much, Leela. Thank you to all of you so much for sharing this space with us. We really appreciate it. I also want to thank the National Endowment for the Arts, the Stephen R. Gerber Trust, the Amphion Foundation, the Copeland Foundation, the Kenosha Community Foundation, all of them for sponsoring our work here at Fresh Ink this year. We are thrilled to be with you over these 2 weeks for performances, so check us out at freshinkfestival.com. Ink is spelled INC, and we'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night with some performer showcases. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Save your chat